Hey YouTube, Awesome Rider here, coming at you with another video about Sentai's future. This time we're going to be discussing the rumored show that's going to evolve from Sentai, take the place of Sentai. I wasn't going to do a video about this, first of all because I didn't think it was anything real, and it still might not be. Take this all with a grain of salt. As of this recording, this is all rumor. As said in yesterday's video, everything here is rumor, and you can tell I'm just doing this audio only because I'm not going to be able to record for a couple of days, and I wanted to record this while I had time. And unfortunately, I only had time a little bit late at night, and I was being lazy, and so this is easier, so I apologize. You're not getting graced with my ugly mug. But let's talk about it. If you didn't know, the current rumor is that Sentai, as we know it, is ending with Gojuju. I know I've said that ad nauseum last few videos. I apologize, but for anybody that hasn't heard this before. And there's rumors that they're doing a rebranding. Now, as yesterday's video said, there's more like of a concrete aspect to the Sentai winding down thing because it's been picked up by more outlets and stuff. That doesn't mean tomorrow they couldn't say, hey, it's not true if season 51's on the way. But compared to usual, when we get these rumors, this actually has some concrete ground to stand on. However, the rumors about the reported show, less so, but you know, it could be true. I was looking into it more yesterday afternoon because the stuff I was seeing was about Sentai Universe. People kept saying Universe, and this didn't help because in all the comments on my video, on Twitter, on other articles I've seen, I see so many people spamming, it's not happening, it's not happening, it's a rebranding, it's a rebranding. And I said yesterday's video that it sounded like cope, not because that doesn't mean that this isn't true, that Sentai will continue in some form, but it reminded me so much of when there was rumors that Hasbro was going to stop adapting Sentai, and you'd get people commenting anywhere they would be heard saying, it's not happening, as if that would stop it. And this feels very similar. Again, this universe thing could be true, Sentai could not be gone, or something in the middle, but the amount of people that are panic typing in the comments already on anybody's video or comments that it's not happening are somehow trying to stop it by saying it's not happening. So it had me not wanting to believe this rumor. So I looked into it more because people just kept saying it's called Universe, it's called Universe. It's spelled weird with like UNVE and like EN or SE at the end, capitalized, which I guess is meant to be United Universe Sentai, which, I mean, the name Universe Warriors or Universe Sentai sounds kind of cool, but the whole, like, abbreviation sounds like in S.H.I.E.L.D. when they're like, it sounds like you really just wanted it to spell S.H.I.E.L.D., so that sounds kind of dorky. But what I thought it was, because when I first looked into it when the news broke, it was people assuming it was going to be called Universe because of the Universe Warriors. I'm like, guys, that's absolutely cope. Even if this is true, that's a complete stretch. Like, that's really dumb evidence. But then I guess there's some listings and some rumors that the show would be called Universe something. I've seen conflicting reports. In today's video, I'm going to read you the rumors I tracked down. There's a couple from multiple places, like when I was looking at people posting rumors that were consistent, and there was a couple random ones. I'm just going to talk about all of them. Again, take it with a grain of salt. I usually don't talk about this, but because this is a unique situation, and I think it's interesting to talk about, even if like only half of this or none of this ends up being true, I think it's a really unique situation compared to usual when we're just speculating on what the next Sentai is. So, again, the name Universe is in there with that dumb, I don't even know if you can call it an acronym, but I don't know whether it would be called Universe Warriors, because I've seen people say Universe Warriors, I've seen some people say Universe Sentai, some people say just Universe. I'm be honest, I don't think they can just call it Universe. I think they have to put something after it. I vote Universe Warriors, to be honest with you. I guess Universe Sentai would tie it more to Sentai, but I think Universe Warrior sounds the coolest, because you could do different themes, like Universe Warriors, dinosaurs, spelled with a Z. I'm just kidding. So, here's some of the consistent rumors. Universe Senshi, that's another one. I guess they could call it Senshi, they could call it Warriors. So, the team would have 3 members. However, I've also heard it's not going to be a team. Like, there's going to be 3 characters, but they're not going to be a team. But there'll be 3 of them. Magic theme, which I have heard a bunch, actually. Before this whole shitstorm, I heard there was going to be a magic card theme. And it's going to be more armored. That's the rumor. It's going to be more armored, closer to Metal Heroes. And the narratives are going to be closer to the first era of Heisei Kamen Rider is what they're saying. And the writing will be more like Kamen Rider. I don't sure exactly what that means. Maybe more serialized, because I'm thinking like old school Heisei from like Kuga through like right before Den-O. Like Den-O Kiva sort of started the 2-episode format, but it was more slow build, serialized, moody. And then Den-O onwards, then especially solidified with Double. It is more serialized than Sentai, but you do get that episodic first half for the majority of them where you have 2-parters. But my takeaway is that it might be more serialized. Now, again, some of the stuff that I didn't hear consistently, where I just saw people bringing it up, and this stuff I couldn't tell whether it was like legitimate like rumors, and not legitimate rumors feels like an opposing idea, but you know what I mean. Like they don't feel like things that are circulating everywhere. As of this recording, maybe it's circulating more places, but the things I heard that I could only see a couple people saying was, again, the thing about them not being a team, like there'd be three of them and not a team. And then there was a rumor about no robots, no mecha. And then the other one was that it's 26 episodes. And the first stuff I first read off about the magic theme, Kamen Rider like Armored, is stuff I've seen a bunch of different places, whether it's fans or rumor sites posting it. The other ones was just kind of random. Again, it could be more solidified by the time I post this, but I thought I would bring it up because I wanted to comment on it all. So it almost sounds like they're just going for maybe a more armored hybrid design look that's maybe Ranger-esque but Metal Hero leaning, which I'm not opposed to, and they could be doing this possibly to differentiate themselves from the Sentai look. You know, there's so many theories and politics involved of like the ideas of why they're wanting to do this if they're doing it. And I talked about that in yesterday's video. I don't think they're doing it to block Hasbro from adapting Sentai, because like I said, I think if Hasbro walked up and said, hey, we want to give you money for Go Juju, I don't think they'd say no, unless it was like a terrible deal. But you know what I mean? I don't think that they're like, Power Rangers is besmirching our name, we won't take your money. I don't think that's the case. But I think there's a legitimate idea behind them maybe wanting to go global and try to do what Rider's doing, at least in some form. But what they have with Power Rangers complicates that in one way or the other. And maybe that's like, okay, we have to have a different name, like legally or whatever, to get around this loophole. But maybe them making it more armored is wanting them to differentiate themselves from Power Rangers. Because as we know here in the US, Power Rangers doesn't have the greatest reputation. And also it could be confusing, and people are just going to refer to it as Japanese Power Rangers anyway. Because I was thinking, I'm like, well, this seems risky. Because like with Rider, it has like a foot in the door. So when they're trying to do, you know, international stuff, it's already got a reputation and kind of a knowability. But with Sentai, of course, people are just going to think, oh, it's Japanese Power Rangers. But I was thinking like, okay, so you're going to go out there with a new thing instead of something that's already established. But then I thought, well, maybe if they go kind of like from scratch, like it's clearly inspired by it, but it's something new. It's kind of a different angle than Rider, where Rider's like, hey, we've been around a while. And this is like, hey, this is kind of a newish thing inspired by the legacy of Sentai. So maybe it could work. Maybe that's why they're doing it. And I like the idea of it being a little bit more serialized or writing like Rider. Some people are up in arms at this idea because it sounds like something new, taking a lot away from what Sentai is. I'll be honest, if this is true and this evolves into whatever this is, it actually kind of excites me. You know, especially after years of watching Toku, it can get so repetitive. The idea of something new, something more serialized and engaging that maybe echoes Sentai is kind of exciting to me, especially with how down I've been on Go Juju. So, you know, bring it on if that's the case. Bring it on, all or nothing. The 26 episodes thing, I'm going to be honest, in the minority, I would support that. I don't know whether that would mean, I guess they could air 2 seasons alongside Rider, because Rider would air approximately 50 episodes. Obviously, one would air past the other, but would that mean you would air 2 universe series alongside Rider? I don't know, but I don't think that Sentai necessarily needs 50 episodes. So many of them are worthless to me. Like, that sounds terrible the way I said that, but you know what I mean? Like, I think they almost run too long, and they still have pacing issues despite the fact that they have so much time. That I could give or take, but I wouldn't mind experimenting with a shorter episode count if they're wanting to do it. That errant line about, oh, they're not a team seems weird to me, because I was thinking, okay, so it's different from Sentai because they have multiple heroes, but they're not a team, as opposed to Rider that just has one hero. And then I'm like, wait a minute, Rider hasn't been a one-hero series since, like, ever. Like, especially in the modern era, you basically end up with a Sentai team of Riders by the end. So that would make it too similar. Maybe it'll be a thing where they're not a team at the beginning. I'm fine either way. I'm open to whatever they're doing. I'm not like, you can't do this, you can't do that. But I think that a team would make more sense if it's going to be Sentai's successor, and also would differentiate it from Rider. Like, I don't want this to be like Rider in the sense that I want it to feel the same. In fact, I was just praising Zets for having a different feel, because I feel that Rider and Sentai have become kind of a homogenous blob of tones, and having Zets go back to Rider having a different tone has been fantastic. So I don't want it to feel or be structured like Rider, but I don't mind it being more engaging and serialized like Rider. Last thing, as far as the robots go, as much as I do love a good Sentai mecha, I love to see what the designs are. When I collected more regularly, I like to collect them. I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't be that upset. If they were to come out tomorrow and say, hey, this is all bullshit, and we're going to continue Sentai Season 51, Season 52, but no more robots, I would be, like, a little disappointed, but not mad. I saw a lot of people reacting to that specific rumor that, like, it won't be Sentai anymore, and I think, what is or isn't any franchise is independent to you. I don't think you can say, like, without robots, it won't be Sentai, in my opinion, because I could totally see a good Sentai show or whatever the hell this is without a robot. It would be disappointing, but I could see why they would do it because it would certainly cut down on budget. So I don't know. The only reason I wanted to talk about this is because I think it's highly interesting. And, the rumor is like rebranding. And this does sound like it has echoes of Sentai, but then when I read it, some of it sounds like it's just a new show replacing it with some similarities. So if this is true when it comes out, I'll be curious how it's branded. Will it be branded like Sentai successor, spiritual successor? This is what's replacing Sentai. And initially I was worried when they had that thing with it's a Universe Warrior based off that. I was like, no, you can't, please don't let it just be all legacy content. But I think the thing I'll end on too is my hope is if this is a thing, that it's kind of a new show with echoes inspired by Sentai, meant to like replace it in terms of it's similar but a new thing. I hope that means the at least temporary death of legacy content. Like if they do want to go global, I think that's another reason you'd want to do this is because you're going to confuse audiences if you're like, let's simulcast next season Sentai and then you have Tyranno Rangers showing up and they're going to confuse audiences. So I don't know. I don't know if any of this will be true, none of it will be true, but it's certainly at least interesting to talk about. I want to know your guys' thoughts. Would you rather see Sentai continue? Would you like to see a version of this universe idea? Or would you be okay with seeing a Sentai without robots, maybe even just for a minute while they get back on their feet financially? Let me know in the comments as always. Till next time, Dawson Ryder, signing out.